Yes, regarding weight loss, I don't use the term weight loss too much because weight loss is just reducing body weight, and that can be done in a very unhealthy way, which I do not suggest. I like to talk more about body remodeling, which has to do with the changing body composition, which comes along with some degree of weight loss, but the procedures and the results are quite different. Usually, when a person is seeking strict weight loss, they diet and they become less healthy. When a person comes to work with me and they're looking to remodel their body, they build muscle, they lose fat, they become more flexible, and we engage in the same types of activities that create body remodeling. They also create a more joyous and happy and fulfilling life. They happen to coincide. And so what the person ends up with is a much more fulfilling and joyous life overall. Not just a better looking body, not just feeling better about yourself, but an overall package of life that is much, much better. I want to give you some ideas about what it is that I do and what it is that I don't do. So there are two ways to approach body remodeling. One way is there are a number of types of procedures that we can collectively call medical weight loss. That's not what I do. Under the umbrella of medical weight loss, you have the use of surgery, the use of medications, and to a large extent, the use of diet. I remember in medical school, a person comes to see us, they're overweight, we measure their weight, their height, we calculate the BMI, and the physician is trained. I had to do this a bunch of times in rotations. We're trained to counsel the person on weight loss, and the counseling is very simple. You got to eat less and exercise more, as if the patient didn't know that already, as if the patient didn't know that they're overweight, as if the patient didn't know that eating less and exercising more would be beneficial to them. I remember asking my attending, my professors, and I was like, isn't this offensive? Isn't this humiliating to tell a patient, eat less and exercise more, Mr. Jones, because, you have to lose weight to lower triglycerides, The person already knows that, and I think it's offensive for a physician to tell them something that is so obvious. Clearly, the problem is not that they don't know that they should be eating less and exercise more. Clearly, the problem is that they can't. So, we can do one of three things. We can neglect the problem, they'll die of a heart attack. We can use a medical intervention to help them, and then there are several things we can do. You can cut into their stomach, bariatric surgery. We can give them medication. We can give them diuretics to lose weight. We can give them appetite suppressants, amphetamine-type drugs. There are all kinds of interventions that can be used. The liposuction, redistribution of fat, they also call that remodeling. There are a number of different types of procedures. And then there's a whole diet industry that will tell you if you only eat this with that, but without that, and you do this and you don't do that, And there's a whole diet industry that will tell you what to eat and what not to eat and how to eat, and how that promises a fantastic life. And again, all of those diets, maybe not all of them, but the great majority of them, particularly the ones that are scientifically based, right? They would work if only what? If only the person would keep up with it. So the problem is not, provided that you have two equally sound diets, and you ask me which one is better, I say yes. Well, what do you mean? Which one is better? Well, they're both good, provided that you would do it. You see, the best diet is just to eat a little less and exercise more, and yet we don't do that. So what I'm attempting to impress upon you is that there's a whole other side to weight loss that has nothing to do with medical advice, surgery, medications. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with how we see ourselves. So I was talking to a young lady this morning on this topic, and I asked her, how long has it been that you've accepted to yourself that there's an excess weight problem there and an inability to adjust her weight? And she started calculating, and it goes all the way back to her first child, and she says, well, about 25 years. So for 25 years, she recognizes that she has had excess weight and she hasn't been able to lose it. So I asked her, number one, what have you done? Well, various diets, I've signed up to various gyms, nothing works for me. So that's clue number one. Notice the phrase, nothing works for me. So this is the first clue that the person is beginning to believe that they're flawed somehow, right? It's my fault. Then she said, then I asked her, okay, so in your experience of the 25 years, what do you think prevents you from adjusting your weight? Or if you could change what, would you lose weight? You know, what is the blockage there? So she thinks about it for a while and says, well, I need to be more disciplined and more constant, more consistent with my efforts. So once again, she blames herself. She's not disciplined enough, as if to lose weight, it took discipline. It doesn't. That's not what it is. But that's what she's thinking. So check this out. I asked her, do you work? Yes. I have 2 jobs. I raise my 3 kids on my own, and on and on and on. So I asked her, do you think it takes discipline to hold on? Are you good at what you do? Yes, I work hard and I deliver on time, and my boss likes my work. Okay, do you think it takes discipline to be that good at what you do? Yes. Does it take discipline to be a single mother for 20 years and raise these kids on your own? Yes. Does it take discipline to keep a household functioning? Yes. Do you think you have enough discipline? Oh, yes, I'm a very disciplined woman. So what prevents you from losing weight? Well, I don't have enough discipline. Do you see what I'm saying? We don't notice these contradictions within us. She doesn't think of herself as someone who lacks discipline. And yet, when it comes to losing weight, she thinks the problem is lack of discipline. Obviously, that's not the case. I know that, right? But the question is, how far can we get the person to see herself in a different light so she can adjust her weight? So then I ask her, okay, give me an example of one specific event in which you lacked discipline in such a way that it contributes to not losing weight. So she gives me a very good example. She says, I'm at the grocery store. I look at a box of cookies. I know I shouldn't buy it because if I buy it, I'll eat it. Those are her exact words. And yet I buy it and I eat it. And I said, and what accounts for that? And she goes, lack of discipline. I know I shouldn't, and yet I do it. Well, it has nothing to do with discipline, you see. Because the moment she sees the box of cookies, at that moment, she's not thinking, oh my gosh, I really know I shouldn't do it. It's really bad for me, but I'm such a bad person. I have no discipline and I want to be fat and obese and I want to die of a heart attack. That's not the thinking. At that moment, it's a mindless act. We pick up the box of cookie, put in the cart. We take it home. After dinner, we wash the dishes. We sit down to watch a little bit of TV. We pick up a cookie. One cookie, after all, is not bad. Next thing you know, half of the box is gone. It's a mindless activity. It wasn't the result of lack of discipline. It was the result of a mandate that is installed in our subconscious mind at a very deep level that creates a very mindless and automatic behavior. We don't think about it. We pick it up without thinking. Let me ask you, the moment you go through the grocery store aisle and you see the cookie, does it take any more or less discipline to simply walk past the cookies and not pick them up? A bunch of people who are not overweight don't have that struggle. And if you ask a person who doesn't have a weight problem, why didn't you pick up some cookies? They say, don't have any desire, don't want it, don't care for it, don't like it. And you say, oh, so you must have taken a lot of discipline to avoid the cookies. No, man, I just don't like them. I just don't care for them. Do you see what I'm saying? What prevents us from eating the extra cookie isn't a ton of discipline. So the word that we use in the office is not really discipline. The word that we use is willpower. So we say that in order to adjust our weight, it's not lack of willpower, because willpower is short-lived. Anybody can not eat the cookie 1 day, 2 days, maximum 3 days. And then your willpower, which is like adrenaline to the body, is short-lived. Eventually your willpower is exhausted and you cave into the cookie. Why do you cave in? Because there's a pressure coming from within you to eat the cookie. There is a mandate. There is a hypnotic suggestion in there that is essentially obligating you to eat the cookie, and you can quelch that with a whole lot of willpower. It takes a lot of energy. And you say, I won't do it, I won't eat the cookie, I won't eat the cookie. By the third day you say, please give me 10 cookies. You see, the mandate always wins. Not in the short term, but in the long term. The only way to do this in a practical way, in a sustainable way, is to change the mandate, right? In other words, you don't want to resist the cookies every time you go to the grocery store. You want to not desire the cookie. Do you see the difference? It's the same thing when people come to me, for a breakup recovery. They have a really bad breakup and they say, but I love this person, you don't understand. The point is not to, so every time he calls me, I go back to bed with him and this and that and I'm destroyed. And, the point here is not to resist the temptation to pick up the phone and whatever you do, right? That's not the point, because that would be torture. I really want this, but I won't have it. That is torture. The point of healing is to not desire what is not good for you. So you naturally walk past the cookies or the person who is toxic to you or whatever the case might be. But we have to change the desire, and that comes from deep within the unconscious mind. So whether I'm working on depletion recovery, whether I'm working with relationships, whether I'm working with prosperity mindset, or whether I'm working with weight loss and body remodeling, I'm working on that subconscious mindset that changes your desires so that you naturally choose effortlessly. It has nothing to do with discipline or willpower. You effortlessly desire different things. That's the only way to live a life that you love. So let me know what you think about this. And by all means, if you are getting value out of this information, please subscribe to the channel, because that would help us a lot to get the message out there. But also because you let me know that you are getting value out of this content, out of this information. So thank you so much, and mega blessings to all of you.